Hey, this is the last question of the January 2023 Regents exam. And this is considered, well, it has the most points. This is a 6-point question. So I'm going to try to work through all of it. And I'm going to show you a couple ways. So this video might be a little longer than the other ones, but I'm going to try to keep it as simple as possible. So let's just jump into it. It says Aiden and his sister Ella are having a race. It says Aiden runs at a rate of 10 feet per second. Ella runs at a rate of 6 feet per second. And since Ella is younger, Aiden is letting her begin 30 feet ahead of the starting line. So that's the situation. And it says let what y represent the distance from the starting line and x represent the time elapsed in seconds. It says write an equation to model the distance that Aiden traveled. Now, one of the things that students should understand is whenever they see the words rate and they give us a number per second or per something, that's the slope. So for this one, it's going to be, I'm going to make this red so it can stand out. It'll be, this is Aiden. Aiden is going 10 feet every second, right? So it's going to be 10 times x. And then his sister, she's a little slower. She's starting, her rate is 6x, and she has a head start. So we got to incorporate that 30 feet ahead. So those would be the two equations that we would have for Aiden and for Ella. Now, when my students took this test in January, a lot of them struggled with this. Partly because we didn't have a chance to really get to the word problems the way that I wanted to. But another reason is that they're not confident in kind of coming up with equations. So here's one of the things that I would recommend. So I'm going to do this another way. Because we know that we have some tools on the calculator that'll help us turn tables into equations. So basically all we need to do is go, okay, let's say x is the number of seconds, and we want to know what's the distance from the starting line. So let's say in 0 seconds, Aiden's going to be at the starting line. So that'll be after 1 second, he's going to be 10 feet from the starting line. After 2 seconds, he's going to be 20 feet from the starting line, right? 3 seconds, 30 feet. So basically this table, if you just basically understand, okay, he's going 10 feet per second, then you can come up with this table. Now, from this table, you can go, and I'm going to go use the calculator now. If I can, yep, I'm going to go to the calculator, and we're just going to use the spreadsheet, and we're going to come up with the equation. So we can make this the x, we can make this the y, and then we're going to say after 0 seconds, he's right at the starting line. And then after 1 second, he's going to be 10 feet from the starting line. And after 2 seconds, he's going to be 20 seconds from the starting line. It's supposed to be at 20. And then after 3 seconds, he's 30 from the starting line. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go, I'm going to go here, and I'm going to figure out, okay, this is the x value, this is the y value, and then I'm just going to come up with the equation. So I'm going to go menu 461, and it tells me right here, that's the equation, y equals 10x plus 0. Since it's 0, we don't need to put that. Now, if we go back to the original, I already had that, but now I can write it here. I came up with it. I didn't use my knowledge of slope and everything. I just said, okay, he's going 10 feet per second. So after 1 second, it's 10 feet. Now, we're going to do the same thing for Ayla. So we're going to do x, y. Now, this one is different. She gets a 30 feet head start. So even before the clock starts, she's 30 feet ahead of him, right? And then after 1 second, she's going to go 6 feet. So she's going to be 36 feet away from the finish line or the starting line. And then if she does 2, that's going to be 12 feet. So, or basically after another second, she's going to go another 6 feet. So that's going to be 42. Then after 3, that's going to be 48. So now we've got a table for Ella. And we can do the same thing. So let me go back over here. I'm going to delete this. And I'm going to start over. And I'm going to say this is for Ella. This is going to be X. This is going to be Y. At 0 seconds, she's at 30. Because she starts 30 foot. After 1 second, she's gone 6 more feet. So that's going to be 36. After 2 seconds, she's going to be at 42. After 3 seconds, she's going to be at 48. And then I press enter. And then I can do the same thing. Go here, go to this. And we're going to do, this is the X values. This is the Y values. And then it's a straight line because it's a linear function. And then we're just going to do a menu 4, 6, 1. That's the equation. It's 6x plus 30. So that's what we saw already. But now we kind of came up with it a different way. So if we go back here, we can see that there's a couple ways that we could do this. We were able to come up with it by our just knowledge of slope and word problems, or we could just kind of figure out just using the information they gave us and then just counting, just finding some points. All we need to do is find some points. And then once we get some points, we can plot it and we can see what kind of graph it is. This is obviously linear. This one is obviously linear too, but this one has a y-intercept of 30. This one has a y-intercept of 0. So now that we've got those two equations, we got to do one more thing. So let me delete this. And I'm going to go to the second part here. And so I'm going to take a snapshot so I can write on this. And it says they want us to graph those two equations, and then they want us to say how many seconds does it take before Aiden catches up to Ella. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to, let's go here, and we're going to enter those equations. Okay, so first one was Aiden. He was going 10x, and we can put plus 0. This doesn't have, it doesn't matter. So the y-intercept was 0, and then if we graph it, press enter, that's what the graph looks like. Let me put some grid lines in here. Menu 2, 6, 3, and then we're going to do Ayla. Ayla starts at 30 feet ahead of him, but she's going 6 feet per second. So now if I do her, if I put hers down there, we got this. Now, we want to start this where let's see. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. So I'm going to do menu 44, and I'm going to put the like here. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep clicking. All right. Maybe I've zoomed out a little too much, but you can see. Let's see here. How do I don't want this to be 500. Let's make it 100. If I click on this, I can make this 100. 100, press enter. All right, so that's a little better. I can click this and make it, let's make this 100 too. And press it. All right, actually I like it. Oops, I didn't want to do that. Control Z, I don't want to mess with that. All right, so I'm just going to drag this down. Now, all I have to do is I have to plot these two lines, but the most important thing is to find out where they intersect. So I'm going to go menu 64 for intersection. So I'm going to start here, and I'm just going to pull it past the intersection, and it tells me at 7.5 seconds, they are both at the same distance from the starting line, and it's the distance is 75. So how many seconds did it take for Aiden to catch her? Over here, we would say it took Aiden 7.5 seconds to catch his sister. And you can say I'm using the graph. So now we got to use this graph. So let's get a couple things like we did before. We said Aiden, and let's see why. So he was after 0, 0, then 1, 10, then 2, 20. So we got a couple points right here. We go over 1 right here, over 2 right here, and then we can use a ruler and we can draw we can draw our straight line. And then we're going to do Ayla. I'll make her red. X, Y, at 0 seconds, she's already 30 feet ahead of the starting line. 1 second, she's gone to 36. 2 seconds, she's gone to 42 because it's going up by 6 because that's the rate. And then 3 is 48. So let's go here. So 0, 30. So we're going to start right 1, 2, 3. We're going to start here. Let's see. I need some nice numbers. So 4. This will be 54, and then 5 will be 60. Now I'm going to use the 5 and 60 because that's easy to plot. So I'm going to go 5. After 5 seconds, she's going to be at 60. So that would be right here. So now that I have these 2 points, I can use a ruler, and I'm going to try to make this as accurate as possible. Right. So that's Ayla. That's Aiden. And if you look to see where they intersect, I'm going to make it blue. It's right about here. So if you look, this is 6, this is 7. It's almost right in the middle. So that would be 7.5 seconds. And then this is 50, 60, 70, and it looks like it's about 75. So this graph is our justification for this statement. And so if you're able to do this, you should get all 6 points. Now, even if you aren't able to plot this perfectly, you could still use a system of equations to solve it. I didn't do that. I just graphed it. But there's a bunch of ways for you to get at least a few points out of this. But it all starts with you have to come up with the equations. And one of the things I want you guys to understand is, let me get out of here, delete this. One of the things I want you to understand is whenever you are asked to come up with an equation, when it says write an equation, all you really have to do is try to come up with a couple points. And once you come up with points, use the spreadsheet and let it help you come up with the equation. All right. I'm going to sign off. This is about 13 minutes, so it's a little longer than I wanted, but I hope that this is helpful and clear. So let me stop this.